morning. Welcome to the first day of April 2021. It's literally the first day of April. And I hope nobody played a prank on you like they played on me this morning. The team, merciful, and the team literally told me there wasn't going to be a show this morning, and I fell for it. Quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, that comes with the terrier, that comes, entering into April and all of the buzz. Welcome to the conversation on TOS Television Network. I am Ade Welsi.
And I am Merciful Gino. Happy April Fool's Day.
Happy April Fool's
Day. I'm
literally
happy
pranked me this morning. I still have not
okay?
forgiven you.
Right? Right. No, it's more like a tradition where we have people forgetting that, look, it's that time of the year where we have one person fool another and they're like, oh my God, I just fell for it. So it's only one day in the whole year that it gets to happen.
You can do that. And I fell for it. I'm always very, alert on the 1st of April, but I fell for this one. I mean, come on. Okay, before we get into the show proper, we'll be bringing you the quote of the day. Yes, that's Benjamin Mays coming through, with motivation to start the month. I mean, just have something to look forward to, set a goal and look forward to it. So basically, it's actually not achieving a goal, but actually not having something to look forward to. And I think that's the worst thing that can happen to anyone. What do you think, Merciful?
Yeah, basically, it's telling us that, look, I think the tragedy is not basically, reaching your goal. There's not waking up every day to an expectation or another, not having some sort of objective, plan for your future, your life. Every day you wake up, what are you setting out to achieve? What is that thing that keeps you going? So I think that's a tragedy for me, and I understand Benjamin May's point of view on that.
Okay, it's one terrible way to live life. Yeah, living without expectation. I know some people don't want to be disappointed, so they tend to not want to have expectations. But please, I think the excitement comes with having something to look forward to, and then just working towards it and seeing it come, play out and seeing it come true.
I think people actually see it like a very, very deep issue. It's not really deep. At every stage in your life, you can have a goal or another, and when you attain that level, you go to the next. So goals can change.
Exactly.
So you have to. What I'm saying is, like, when you wake up, you have to look at something you're looking at achieving before the end of the day, or there's a bigger picture.
Exactly.
So you go to school, you get a job. Ahead, you get money and stuff.
Honestly, I was going to say, it doesn't have to be, go for the year, go for the next 5 years. It could just say go for the day, do you get me? Or for the week, or for the month. Just set a goal and just something to look forward to.
I think the overall goal, in my perspective, is purpose. When you know why you're on earth, when you know what you're doing with your life as a person. So those little goals, they build up to, talk about the main goal.
Merciful coming through with the motivation for today, Thursday, April 1st. All right, having said that, we're going to go on with the show, but we're going to go on a break. And when we come back, we'll be bringing you developments across Africa. Welcome back. Now let's delve right into it. Starting, the public holidays. I mean, the federal government of Nigeria has declared or announced Friday, April 2nd and Monday, April 5th as public holidays to celebrate, the Easter. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, announced in a statement on Tuesday. Aregbesola urged Christians to emulate the attributes of forbearance, forgiveness, kindness, humility, love, peace, and patience, which were demonstrated by Jesus Christ. Also enjoined Christians faithful to use the occasion of this year's Easter celebration to pray for the peace, unity, and progress of our country, and that's Nigeria. Security is everybody's business. I, therefore, encourage all Nigerians and foreigners resident in Nigeria to display a high level of patriotism at this critical time in the history of our country, to support the efforts of all security agencies in ensuring peace and security of lives and property of the citizenry, he said. He reassured Nigerians of the federal government commitment to halt the spate of kidnapping, armed banditry, and other crimes in every part of the country. Now, aside from the fact that Merciful and I wouldn't be going, for any public holiday, so we're going to be here tomorrow as well on a Monday.
Yeah. So we are working, so
But
you do not have
exactly,
to, right?
Oh, I like the way you put it, but I like the admonishing and
And also the talking about security is
security.
everyone's business.
Yes.
We've always spoken about that. Yesterday on the show, we're saying everybody should be involved. It's either you're alerting someone, you're just doing your own bit to ensure that everyone is safe and.
Especially at a time when almost everybody is going to be at home. It's a time where you have to, be conscious, be security conscious. I mean, when it's not public holiday, a lot of people go to work, so you might not even know what's happening in your environment, or you might not even be fully abreast of it. But everybody's going to be home at this time, so it's one time to want to look out and just be conscious, and everything. And I think that's, like we said yesterday, security is no longer the federal government's business or the state government's business. It's now everybody's business. You and me. So I look out for you while you look out for me, and then we're just looking out for each other.
I do as well.
Yes, I know, right? Okay, moving on.
All right, moving on. I'm still in Nigeria. We have Lawan disclaiming the constitutional amendment for Buhari beyond 2023. The Senate President Ahmed Lawan has disclaimed on Tuesday that he had plans to extend the tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari beyond 2023. The Senate President, in a statement issued by his media aide Ola Awoniyi, debunked a tweet where he was said to have supported the amendment of the Nigerian Constitution to allow President Buhari to stay beyond 2023. He said the Office of the President of the Senate has noted a tweet by one Comrade Mayor attributing a fabricated statement to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan. In the mischievous tweet, the Senate President was quoted as saying he wouldn't mind a constitutional amendment to allow unlimited term of office for President if President Buhari wishes to remain in office beyond 2023. He said our initial reaction was to ignore the ignoble mischief, especially since it is not new, having been posted 2 years ago on 27 March 2019. But because the tweet has been trending again on social media, it becomes necessary to issue a formal rebuttal of its purport. We therefore say categorically that the Senate President has never made any such statement before or after 2019, he said.
I think this was, on the front burner of newspapers yesterday, where they were reassuring that we're not looking towards extending the tenure of the president.
Because it's like 8 years.
We're saying that his term is finally going to be over, and then, when we're talking about Tinubu coming, for president, and we're looking towards saying, look, the build-up towards the 2023 election is getting interesting. I remember we did say that the president isn't coming back, so they're all going to be, fronting new candidates, for presidential seats and all that stuff. And so when I saw yesterday, reassuring that the president, they're not looking towards extending the tenure of the president, and I was like, where is this coming from at this time? So apparently seeing this is like,
I wonder what the motive of the Twitter user, was to have tweeted such. Maybe, I don't know how
a lot of people just want to create a buzz, controversy, stuff to talk about, exactly.
And trending, putting them on front burner, having their account. People just want to trend.
Exactly.
But definitely, we know that according to the Constitution, except it is amended, and we just have 2 years, before the 2023 general election.
Yes.
And we definitely know for a fact, as at now, that Buhari's term has come to an end.
Coming to an end. It has 2 years to go. Exactly. All right, still staying with Nigeria. Now, of our Kaduna State High Court, has resumed sitting or the trial of the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, that's Ibrahim Yaqub El-Zakzaky, popularly known as El-Zakzaky, and his wife Zinat. El-Zakzaky and his wife are standing trial on an 8-count charge bordering on alleged culpable homicide, unlawful assembly, and disruption of the public peace, amongst others. On September 29, 2020, the IMN leader and his wife pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to them. The case was adjourned on March 8, 2021 by the presiding judge, Justice Gideon Kurada, after the prosecuted counsel, Chris Umar, presented 14 witnesses who testified against their IMN leader, that's El-Zakzaky. Among the witnesses include 2 army officers, a retired director of State Security Service, police officers, and a medical doctor who testified. before the court. Before you just go on, this issue, the Osazaki trial has been going
It
on
has gone on
for
a
the
couple of
longest
years.
time. I
Yeah.
think I don't know which one of the courts was it, the federal high court that rules that he should be let go, but he wasn't let go, and then we saw the shared protesters of every
Abuja and
time
everywhere.
just coming in and just protesting for their leaders to be released. It's been back and forth, and I just hope, as we'll crave or praying that we see the end of
The end
insecurity in
of
Nigeria.
yeah,
We also see the
definitely.
end of this one, whether he's going to be tried and convicted or whether he's going to be released.
But
Because
let the
I
matter
know
just be solved.
yes, because I know the Shite and the police clashes. The Shite, I think it was yesterday you read that the Shite clashed. Some one
Yeah,
person
in
in
a
life
park.
was lost and all of that. So I just hope that all of that is just off the table.
Because really,
Very soon.
innocents will be involved in it, and
Exactly.
we don't want to come here in the morning and talk about Saudis or another. All right, moving on. After the story, we have former President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, mourning his grandmother, the demise of his grandmother. Obama mourned the demise of his grandmother, Sarah Ogwell Onyango Obama, the 44th President of the United States. On Monday afternoon, he penned a weighty ode for the departed woman on his official Facebook page, describing her not only as a bridge to the past that helped fill a void in his heart, but also a woman whose homestead was a refuge for his family in times of difficulties. He said, "My family and I are mourning the loss of our beloved grandmother, Sarah Ogwell Onyango Obama, affectionately known to many as Mama Sarah, but known to us as Danny or Granny. Born in the first quarter of the last century in Nyanza province on the shores of Lake Victoria, she had no formal schooling, and in the ways of her tribe, she was married off to a much older man while only 18. She would spend the rest of her life in the tiny village of Alego in a small home built of mud and thatched brick and without electricity or indoor plumbing. There she raised 8 children, tended to her goats and chickens, grew an assortment of crops, and took what the family didn't use to sell at the local open air market."
Quite
Such a very
impressive.
simple life, I
Yeah,
think.
very simple life, but very purposeful. Simple, but yet purposeful, because you can see that, as she didn't have an education, and then she, very traditional woman, but you could see that she did make something, with her life. I mean, she's grandma to, President Barack Obama,
Yeah.
right? And then another thing I think that happened was, I think they said she did a lot of humanitarian works, I think in the last couple of years.
For someone who was not schooled for a
yes,
long time.
exactly. So she just knew, the purpose of life, and she lived it really well. So I think this time, while they're mourning up, I think they're also going to be celebrating,
Celebrating
her
more.
life in her lifetime. Quite
Yeah.
interesting, quite a very, interesting way to live, actually.
Definitely.
Do what you love to do, purposeful at it, and then impact people while you're
Yes,
doing it.
impact people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Very,
definitely.
very necessary. All right, that's the much you can take, on the development across Africa segment of the conversation. It's about that time where we bring you COVID-19 updates from across Africa. Welcome back. That was, COVID-19 updates from across Africa. And forget that I'm smiling. You know that when it comes to this segment, I'm always very particular about you taking precautions and doing the needful. I'm starting to hear of a third wave of COVID-19. Thankfully, we've not started to hear that in Africa yet. And I hope we don't, have to deal with the third wave of COVID-19 in Africa. And to do that, we have to play our part, right? You play your part while I play my part. And how do we do that? Take precautions, do the needful, everything that needs to be done. Get vaccinated, wear your face mask, sanitize properly, and do everything that you need to do. And then do everything that you need to do also to boost your hygiene, and then, all of that stuff, so that, we don't have to come here every day and talk about COVID-19 or talk about the increase in cases or the number of deaths or the number of recoveries. Just forget about all of that and just, go back to living life as we know it, or as we want to live it, basically, not having to worry about COVID. You get that, right? Okay. All right. Having said that, we're going to go on a break now. When we come back, we'll be taking you through newspaper headlines for this morning.
TOS TV Network mobile app is now available. You can now catch up on our breaking news, stream our programs live, watch out for the latest update on sports and politics as they unfold. You can also get notifications for our upcoming programs and events. All these on our TOS TV Network mobile app, available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. TOS TV News from Africa by Africans.
Being a journalist means in-depth analysis that unravels hidden truths, that question the status quo and fact-checks government.
These criminal elements hiding under the cloak of surveillance contractors are the APC elements.
Do you have facts to prove that? Being a journalist means waking up every day with a burning desire for peace, equity, and justice for all citizens.
We're being told that the choice you have is to take the lesser of two evils.
It means patriotism via the prism of objectivity and accountability. It means giving my platform to the masses to discuss issues that matter to them.
Some of them, if they bring budget and the budget they look, some of them sleep. They're going to ask how much you are on. I have it.
Thereby shaping government policies and laws. My name is Osasu Igbeneja, and I am the People's Journalist.
You're welcome back to the conversation showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. Don't forget, you can always be a part of it by following us across all our social media handles at TOS TV Network, across all our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget, also on our website, www.tostvnetwork.com, you can stream the show and also subscribe on YouTube, TOS TV Network, just to get all the content we have for you lined up. All right, it's that time where we bring you, headlines across some major newspaper dailies for today. We begin with Daily Trust, and the first story just on top of the newspaper there is British government worried over insecurity in Nigeria. That story can be found on page 12 of the Daily Trust, and side by side is gunmen attack Soludo, kill 3 security aides. That story can be found on page 6, and then besides that is federal government recovers 49.7 billion naira of 5.2 trillion naira debt. That can be found on page 9 of the Daily Trust. We move over to the very obvious headline, military yet to submit estimate for arms coming from the federal government of Nigeria. And the writers say, defense officials they are being careful, saying expert, 396 billion naira supplementary budget for COVID-19 ready. Government halts proposed healthcare centers in state. And we just go underneath the picture of the day where it looks like some sort of palliatives, COVID-19 palliative is being showcased on the picture there. Underneath it says, arrest made in Niger Republic attempted coup. That story can be found on page 36 of the Daily Trust. And the last headlines underneath says, NSCIA tackles can over appeal court justices shortlisting. That can be found on page 36. And besides that is, after collecting 5 million naira ransom, kidnappers of cleric, 11 others dumped 4 corpses. That can be found on page 27. And then assault, police probe CCT boss as lawyers plan suit. That particular story can be found on page 26. And all the stories can be found on the Daily Trust newspaper.
I'm interested in why, the proposed healthcare centers have been halted. Proposed healthcare centers across different states in Nigeria have been halted because I know it's COVID-19 period. It's very particular about healthcare.
Yeah,
And then
it's that time where we should have all everybody talking about healthcare and how important it is.
I'm sure they have very good reason why that is, and that's why, if
have
you're
to
like
take
me, you're
a
interested, grab yourself a copy and then find out why. Because we need to know why, right? So that's why you should get yourself a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper. Moving away from the Daily Trust to News Direct, right? And then starting from the very top, Army denies loop-sidedness in recruitment, wants mischief makers. That's coming from Brigadier General Yerima. And then beside that, alleged Lekki killings not verified, U.S. Department of State. That one is coming from the U.S. Department of State on the issue of the Lekki toll shooting that happened in October 2020. And then COVID-19, Nigeria gets $15 million grant for safe school reopening. And then, going over to the very gaping headline there, federal government to spend 396 billion naira, beg your pardon, on COVID-19 vaccination. That's the Minister of Finance saying that. And right there under that, how Nigeria can successfully vaccinate its over 200 million population. That's coming from the Senate President Lawan. And then beside the picture of the day, amid mixed corporate earnings, equities market down by 628 billion naira in Q1, that's from January to March 2021. Unknown gunmen attack former CBN Governor Soludo, kill 3 policemen, abduct commissioner. Then another headline there, Dangote empowers 16,000 rural women in all Kwara local governments. That's quite impressive. And just underneath the picture of the day, NCDMB Investments Limited to government policies Project Wabote. NAF commences airlift of COVID-19 relief materials to West African countries. And then the last headline on the News Direct, Nigerian News Direct newspaper says, NCC open to innovations, strategic collaboration for human capital development. And that's coming from Dambita. All of these stories, very interesting stories you can get or find insight in Nigerian News Direct.
Yeah, we have so much stories in the newspaper.
Yes,
absolutely. All right, we move over to the Daily Times and we'll begin from the very top as well. Falana Labour activist mauls new Labour movement party. The writer says, say a new Nigeria is possible. And we move over to the very gaping headline on the Daily Times. Nigeria, other African states face debt crisis, slow growth. That can be found on page 2 of the Daily Times. And underneath the picture of the day, we have 3 headlines there. In the first one, attack on Soludo. Gunmen attack Soludo, kill 3 police guards. That can be found on page 12 of the Daily Times. And besides that is unpaid salaries. Pengasson shut down OML 147,98 over severance allowance. That can be found on page 3 of the Daily Times. And the last headlines talking about trafficking. Oka Donley unveils foundation against human trafficking, SGBV. That story can be found on page 4 of the Daily Times.
Yes, I'm very I'm going to applaud Dame Julia Okadoni right there for she was the former Director General of NATIP, and then while she was there, she did so much, to curb human trafficking. And aside every other thing that she did, I think she took the issue of human trafficking really
very
personally.
Serious, yeah.
And then, she did all of that. And even when she had tenure expired as Director General, she continued. I remember talking to her one time, and she said that her tenure is over. It doesn't mean her interest or fight against human trafficking is over. She's going to continue. And I think today she's unveiling a foundation to continue to fight against human trafficking. Because whether we like it or not, human trafficking is a very huge concern in
it's a
Africa.
very serious matter.
Very, very concerned. Like from within Nigeria even, and then talking from, exporting
over the border.
People, humans, kids, children from outside of Nigeria to, do very hard labor outside of Nigeria. It's a very concerning issue, and seeing her doing that at this time is very applaudable. Yes, very commendable. All right, moving over from that newspaper to the Guardian newspaper this morning, starting from the very gaping headline there. Shortage of COVID-19 vaccine sparks fear of fakery and hoarding. And then, have 3 or 4 riders under that. Federal government yet to send supplementary budget for COVID-19 expenses. Second rider, Nigeria plans to get 70 million Johnson & Johnson vaccines through the African Union. Second batch of AstraZeneca may arrive in August. And then UK fines Oyaki Lome's TV station 65 million naira over COVID-19 sermon. All of that is, on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. And then, just underneath that one, British envoy laments Nigeria's worsening insecurity. And then the first rider there says, military delaying supplementary budget for weapons procurement, says minister. And then Oshibanjo presides over FEC in Buhari's absence. That story is also continued on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, just underneath the picture of the day, colorful headlines, by the way. Military opts for full force against terrorism and banditry. You can find that on page 3. And then gunmen kill 8, injure 4 in Kaduna. That's on page 5. Gunmen attack Soludo, kill 3 policemen. That news is on page 4. And then the last headline on the Guardian newspaper this morning, Ebonyi declares curfew as indigents decry murder of kings. That news is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, we move to the very last newspaper here daily for today, and that is the Business Day. Begin from the very top. I'm talking about Business Day Market Monitor to get the details, data, and analysis of what's happening in the market. The first very gaping headline there says passengers to pay more at Easter on shortage of aircraft. And besides that, we see trading in Africa, how Nigerian exports can win. And just beside the picture of the day, we're talking about COVID-19 palliatives to be distributed to ECOWAS members countries. We see inside Apapa, isn't it time for Sanwo-Olu to name and shame? That's what you can be found on page 30 of the Business Day
name
newspaper.
And shame who and what.
That's why you should
have
have a copy.
Papa Wolf and everything. I'm quite interested in that. So yeah, that's why you should get yourself a copy. But before we move on, I kept saying replicated across all the dailies we've read this morning, and it was quite one story that created a buzz. I think overnight is the attack on former CBN governor, or attempted attack. Kuchat Soludo, and that kind of brought me to what I was saying at the time that the governor of Benue State trended, and I had said, look, these people, their guts are increasing, right? It's getting bigger for you to actually, because this is no longer just attacking a village or attacking a community. This is
attacking
now
people of prominence.
Yes, this is now, but you cannot just go to the house of the former governor of CBN and just, carry out an attack. It has to be purported, premeditated and planned. And that is becoming really scary. And like we always say, the issue of insecurity, and I saw also that also the UK or the US is concerned about the rising issue of insecurity in Nigeria. I hope they're not just showing concern, but they're going to help
do something about it.
Partnership, whatever it is that can be done, because all hands have to be on deck. So we have to, like I said, we have to also look at, while looking inwards, to see how we can further combat it. They're saying the military is yet to submit budget estimate budget for arms, acquiring more arms. Good. We also have to look at, outside as well, look at international partnership collaborations and how we can, just do everything we can to curb the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Because if you're starting to hear that people with prominent notable figures have been attacked or have been targeted,
that means the rest of people are vulnerable.
Yeah, because
anything can happen.
Exactly. They're basically moving away from just regular, unplanned, whatever mishap, and just going to
carrying out calculated,
and their guts are increasing, and something needs to be done about that. All right, that's too much you can take, or that's it for the newspaper headline segment on the conversation. We're going to go on a break, and when we come back, I will be taking you through what is trending on social media. Welcome back. Before we get into what has been trending on social media for the past 24 hours, I'm going to tell you, do not forget to feel that you can be a part of all of this. I want to hear your opinion and your comments, so just follow us across all social media platforms. TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and as well YouTube. TOS TV Network on YouTube. Just check out the amazing lineup of programs that we have there for you. And also TOS TV Network, just check out our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Now, bringing you back to what has been trending on social media in the last 24 hours. I think this has been trending on social media for over 24 hours actually, and that's the trial of Derek Chauvin, the officer accused of killing or causing the death of George Floyd. If you were, I think everyone actually, last year saw the whole issue that happened with the Black Lives Movement across, countries of the world, and that was sparked,
massive protest.
Yes, massive protest actually, and that was sparked by the death of George Floyd. So the trial of former policeman Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd is underway in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Chauvin, whose wife is charged with second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter in connection with the death of George Floyd, who was black, during an arrest last May for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Floyd, handcuffed and face down on the pavement, said repeatedly that he could not breathe while other officers looked on. Now, the video kind of agonizing, trended last year, and the mass protest. If you did see that video, and I think it should have taken something away from you. You see a grown man lying on the floor telling you, I can't breathe, even calling out for his mother. That was a grown man telling that, please, you're killing me, I'm dying, I'm going to die, and stuff like that. And then people standing by saying, take your knee off his neck, you're going to kill him, all of those stuff. And then him not listening. You're trying to arrest somebody. You already cuffed him. You already have him on the phone.
That particular issue is generated a lot of talks. People,
yes, it was quite sad.
And I think it was what brought about. It was the main thing about the mass protests because this has been happening before.
Yes, obviously,
and
of course.
Thank God for social media. Thank God for people who always had phones to capture those kind of moments. But it's a very, very sad one to watch someone suffer and cannot do anything about it.
For 8 minutes.
8 minutes, 46 seconds.
Your knee was on his neck, and he was literally crying out and telling you, I can't breathe. All you needed to do, or all Derek needed to do, was take his knee off his neck. You have him on the floor. Just remove your knee from his neck. And he didn't do that, and that resulted in the death of of George Floyd. I beg your pardon. And the trial has been ongoing for a few days now. So I'm going to take a few tweets to that regard. And the first one is from Walsh Freedom, and it says, I don't know if Derek Chauvin will be convicted, but I do know this. George Floyd would not have died that day if Chauvin hadn't done what he did. And then this is from Letty for you. I hope witnesses are receiving mental health support for witnessing George Floyd's gruesome death. Donald Williams, Genevieve Hansen, Christopher Martin, Charles Macmillan, and the miners. # George Chauvin trial. # George Floyd. And then this is from Roshan Rinaldi. She or he says, the bystanders who witnessed the murder of George Floyd now actually feel more guilt and remorse than the cop who actually murdered him. And this just, further buttresses. And I think I go, this person that says the witnesses, I hope they're getting, therapy and, help.
Yeah, because definitely it's traumatizing
it's very traumatizing
to be present when that is happening.
Yes.
To look, they were
and then having to recount it.
To recount it,
yes,
yeah, because when they were called to the stand, many of them were all crying, and I was like, yes, exactly. I can really. Not like I can feel, because really it's a different ballgame. But
exactly.
Having to stand there and see someone do something to another person, the person died eventually, is very sad, because you go home thinking, what should I have done about it?
Exactly.
That's why I agree with the tweet that says they haven't feeling more remorse than the officer
who did it. And I think while watching the trial yesterday, one of the minors that testified said she stood there and was seeing what was happening, and the only thing that was flashing through her mind was her brother and her dad. That could have been them. Do you understand? That could have been my daddy, or that could have been my brother. And that was every time that came to mind, that's the only thing that comes to her mind. She's a minor, she's a teenager. I think she's about 16, 17 years old, and having to think about that for the past 1 year to think, look, it could have been my dad there on the floor, crying for help, and nobody could do anything about it. That is very traumatizing for a minor. So I do hope that, something is done with the witnesses, with the call to the stand, everybody that witnesses.
Yeah.
They get
yeah,
help,
and I really do, and I'm really very, 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 very heartbroken for the family of George Floyd.
Yes.
Having to
His
talk
daughter,
about these things, having to talk about the justice system,
very,
having
very
to,
little
because
girl.
like I really cannot it's really sad.
Very sad.
Very sad. And it's an eye opener for people who have access to to see what is happening in society and can speak up or just cover it or something. And so those people can be brought to book because when these kind of things happen, what we are seeking for is justice.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's the only thing that can be done. We cannot bring the dead back to life.
Exactly.
So justice should prevail.
That was the essence of the whole Black Lives Movement anyway. Justice, everybody calling for justice. Look, this has been going. We've been having ongoing cases, of, racist murder, racist, racial profiling and other stuff, calling for the end to racial profiling, calling for the end of xenophobia, calling for, justice for whoever has been killed in that line. And also bringing it back to Nigeria, we need to, calling for the end of tribalism and all of that stuff. Because it's racial segregation over there, but here it's tribalism. We still have that in Nigeria. With the same people. One Nigeria, but we're still saying, look, he's a Northerner. It's not. I don't care about him. We're all Nigerians.
It's really not cliche when we say united we stand.
It's not.
Really united we stand.
It sounds cliche, but it's not. Like we have to, look at each other. That's why notwithstanding where we're from, notwithstanding your class, your status, societal status, notwithstanding your skin color, even like Merciful is dark skinned and I'm light skinned, but I'm not gonna be looking at Merciful like, no, I don't know.
But we black.
We're black, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's quite sad what happened to George Floyd, and I hope that he does get the justice that he deserves. If Chauvin, is found guilty, I hope he's prosecuted. I hope all of that goes on. The justice system has to, be very transparent with this one, and I like that the trial has been broadcasted live. It's been broadcast live, and we can see what's going on with it and all of that stuff. And I hope he gets the justice he deserves. That would be one win for everybody that has been fighting or has been lending their voice to the cause of racial segregation, racial profiling, and murder or manslaughter as a result of all of that. All right, that's so much you can take on what is trending on social media. I hope you did enjoy the segment because that is my favorite segment of the conversation.
I did actually.
All right, okay, we're going to go on a break now, and when we come back, we will be bringing you the big story.
North to South Africa, East to West Africa, TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Watch us in television.
Thanks for staying and welcome back to the conversation showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. It's that time where we bring you the crux of the program, the big story. I'm talking about prioritizing youth development in Nigeria. Young Nigerians make up the largest population in Nigeria, and both state actors and development partners have agreed that an investment in young people will greatly impact in the development of the nation Nigeria. But the question is, how much of that is being done? Joining us via telephone this morning to look at how we can prioritize investment in youth is Prince Israel Oreka, the Executive Director of Connected Advocacy for Empowerment and Youth Development Initiative. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, top of the morning to you all. Greetings from Edo.
Thank you.
Prince Israel Oreka.
I like your energy. Good morning.
Prince Israel Oreka, thank you. First of all, let me ask you, what is the level of work being done in youth development and investment in Edo State at where you currently work?
I can speak more exactly from the work we do in Connected Advocacy. I think from our own perspective, we find out that there is a currently closed civic space for youth participation and active participation in governance, which has also sprung to youth voices not being heard. And also, young people currently enjoy what we call Oga, the boss there, the chair there. And whenever you becomes a boss there, the chair there, preceding these big politicians, it's a big challenge for you to come to the table. Bringing you to the table becomes very difficult. So for part of what we've been doing, in the last election, we played a very active role in promoting a peaceful election and also talking to the young people, because these young people are the perpetrators of violence. Now, young people are now being used to perpetrate violence, to cause crime, and also why they also steal their birthrights. So we now push the Vote Not Fight campaign, Election No Big War. Two-Face DBI help us to do some adverts where we now begin to say, okay, if you say make we go carry gun, let the children lead. So let politician children lead. If you want us to carry gun, let the politician children, let them be at the forefront while others follow. So this campaign went around the 18 local government and it reduced the level of youth participation in violence. And also we did a survey to actually find out 5 top priority need for Edo youth. We call it the Edo Youth Agenda. And that survey, we were able to reach out to about 360 young people to ask what are actually their needs. What do they really need? So in top of our agenda, we find out that Edo young people, they said they need capacity building and education, not just education that is impactful, education that is innovative, education that can meet up to the 21st century education learnings that we currently learn. Because we find out in most of our secondary schools, even tertiary schools, the outdated library, the outdated labs cannot even make them even come into standard with global best practice, not even in line with global best practice. So that has also been a lacuna that has also helped bedevil youth participation or youth development. Because imagine you have a graduate that doesn't even know everything he did from 100 level to final year was just theory, and the lab that they said they are open on to do practicals, they are dead things, and they are not even they are obsolete. So they said young people say they need capacity building and education. Then our research also find out from that survey that employability and employment environment, that is enabling environment for young people to thrive. This has also not also been available. Our startups has also been very, very terrible, because that is why you see the exodus of young people now to Libya and to every other place where they can find themselves greener pasture, because currently the space is closed. So our survey also find out that security was another challenge. They also identified that if the environment is peaceful enough, they could go about their normal business. Because there was a time that rampage killing among themselves was also very high. Then the S-men killings also, which also deprived them from going to farm, was another challenge they also had. And they also made mention of agriculture, that can be a very good tool for startup for young people if they are empowered. So currently, empowerment has been very low for young people in my state. And We present the Edo Youth Agenda to the incoming governor so that he can read. I pray he has read it. These are the current mind of the young people before the NSAS came in. So young people actually are underdeveloped. Young people actually, they participate low from development space. We have the energy, we have the number, but we are underutilized. We are not well equipped to actually come to the table. They said you must be equipped. What are you bringing to the table? We don't have the things we can bring to the table. So young people are currently not in decision-making table of the country, of the state. So young people are excluded. So we are actually advocating because we were the key guys for Edo that's connected advocacy. We help in promoting the Not Too Young to Run in Edo, that the Edo State House of Assembly passed into law. Why did we push into that? We found out that young people, we are more in number, we have the voting population, but we can't vote and be voted for. We cannot come out as president, we cannot come out in any meaningful position. So that is why we advocate for that. But right now, they're truncating that law was the high amount they placed in buying political form, 20 million naira. A young man who just graduated, how will he raise that amount? So that also disenfranchised the young people from also participating. So right now, going forward, for us to have an effective youth development in Edo State or in Nigeria, we must first of all build the capacity of our young people. We must build them to be able to match with 21st century people. You see Indian youth, they're already into manufacturing. They now manufacture your iPod, your phones, your flash drive, but because they are empowered, the environment enables them to begin to put in their productive mindset into constructive development. But here it's lacking. The space is closed for us to even stretch our head. We don't even have the say in what is happening. And what we are seeing currently is that we don't even have anything to bring to the table. So they will now ask you, what do you have? Since the capacity, imagine us to strike for over 1 year plus, a complete full session gone. And now, even as in the state now is also planning to go on strike. So imagine students who are just going out of strike. What meaningful development can they provide for national development?
Talking about national development, you did say that it seems as though the young people don't have what to bring to the table. Now, I might have to take you back to Edo State a little bit. I'm from Edo State, right? And I lived in Edo State for 5 years. And then the perception I got was lots of young people in Edo State are pretty laid back about, being inclusiveness in development, in participating in the issue of the economy, just pretty laid back. And then lots of young people in this state just want fast results and fast cash. What is your reaction to that stereotype?
Yes, do you understand? When you leave a man in the dark for too long, anything he sees in the dark becomes the object of what he works with. So when the young people are left on their own for too long, now they are not finding a path for themselves. The thing are so degenerated now, so painful for me, because in part of what we did, we went to EWU, where we're currently doing some kind of need assessment, and that we can even inject youth empowerment program, because we were trying to bring what we call the Edo Youth Research Development Center. See, what I'm telling you is now we are young people right now are into, most of them are into Yahoo. They don't even learn trade again because they find out that it's no longer helping issue, because the time they had that opportunity to have learned those things is no longer there. Peer pressure is not there. You now see a boy that you are better than in secondary school is not riding Venza. How did you do it? They told you press one button and the other. So you don't tell you, okay, even right now it has degenerated to the fact that even parents go to their meeting to borrow money to buy laptop for their children. Because why? The system has lost it. So we are in a dilemma. What we are saying is true. And if you go to some communities now, they don't even want to go to farm again. So this is why more aggressive youth intervention that really touches them, not those television show or the audio messages you edit and paste. Or let us see what really touched grassroots, because the intervention never reached this core people. So now they are now finding a way for themselves. Imagine somebody was telling me 3 days ago, when I was telling him that the danger of Yahoo, the aftermath of it, if they calculate the impact negative impact that it will bring to them some 10, 15 years from now. You know what he said? He said, I remember when we were in tenant, that before the month runs out, the landlord will pour water in their soup, asking them for rent. Now I'll be able to build a house for my mother, and they are no longer in rent. Are you saying Yahoo is bad? Did you see? I was perplexed. I was short of words, but I told him, come on. This, you are affecting somebody to forcefully collect what belongs to the person is crime. Crime is crime. I don't know how you look at it, but the aftermath is that you must pay, and your generation also will go about pay, because this is ill-gotten wealth that you just forcefully take from another person. But they don't longer see it like that. Young people now see it as a way of surviving, because the system has lost. They have lost hope in the system. The system, in Edo, there's nothing like bursary, there's nothing like scholarship though. So what do they now use in encouraging young people? There is nothing.
All right, Prince.
So in as much I don't support this Yahoo thing, because it's going to affect the person psychologically, it's going to affect the person they are also collecting from, the same thing. But the truth of the matter is that the system has actually failed us, that we can no longer even sleep at night now, because who did not see Yahoo will go and steal. So the truth of the matter is there should be an overhauling of the system. Let us begin to call a spade a spade. Let us be realistic in our intervention, not just this television camera editing and pasting. Let us be realistic, so that we can have a system that is working. We can have a system that includes young people to also be part of decision making, not only part of the implementation, because implementation is also a big challenge. You see a very bogus and fine robust budget as the implementation measure. But those ones in government house, they will implement it 100%. But those ones that want to lead to young people in intervention, that wants to lead to the development of all those young people, they will tell you percentage is almost like 30%. How can 30% now make a meaningful impact in an ecosystem where we have almost 60% of the population as young people? So that's why today we are saying exodus. Young people are leaving the state even when they are dying. Some will tell you they better go and die in the Mediterranean Sea than sit here and be looking. Others that could not go now is into Yahoo Plus. How do I make money in 6 months and become a millionaire? Tell me I will do. Not how I will go and learn a trade or learn skill that I will become a master in 3 years. So this is the lacuna we are having. This is the challenge we are having. And that is why we are also in our own best in connected advocacy. We are trying to do our best. We are looking at a future where we can get young people included in the ecosystem of our community, participating actively. So we are looking at the Edo Youth Research Development Center. We can bring in something like the idea banking, bring in innovation again, bring in real startups to really empower young people. So that is where we are now. But we cannot do it all. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was going to say, you're talking about, a failed system. You see, we've had different governments come and go, and there seems to be like the spotlight is being beamed on the fact that we're talking about youth development, youth empowerment. Are you saying that nothing significant is being done? There is no significant change so far for the couple of, the last 3 elections that, we've had in this country?
Absolutely no significant change. We shouldn't, except you want me to begin to tell you political statement. No significant change, because there's no implementation. Is it not where there's 100% implementation you see significant change? Is it not where, ask what is the budget for youth development? Find out. You'll see that it's not even enough to even drive home 100 youths. So how do you want an implementation that will bring significant change if from the planning they are not even there? From the planning, youth are not considered. They are only known as errand boy, and they send them to do all the nonsense they need to do, which is very painful, because they don't have any other means. Many are already subscribing to all those kind of living. Yeah. So that is my problem. It's from the initiation stage, from the planning stage. Okay. If they get it right from the planning stage, the implementation stage, if they get it right, you will see significant change. So you cannot see a significant change where in planning, young people are already excluded in the plan, and in the implementation, they are not even there. Imagine you are coming to do an intervention in my community. You don't even know the need assessment of the community, what they actually need. So how will your intervention work?
Okay.
So that is what we've been doing.
All right. Okay, so in your opinion now, before I let you go, because we're kind of out of time, but in your opinion, what would be the way forward that we can go from, from conception to planning and to implementation? What would you say should be the way forward at this point?
There should be change of mindset. From everybody, there should be change of mindset.
Okay.
I want to do something, I should keep my word. What I want to do, I should do it. Not coming telling you one thing, doing another thing. So if I want to do something, I will do it. Then also young people should also begin to have mindset, because that there is tomorrow. Any negative thing you also do today, there is law of karma. It must also play back to you tomorrow. So these are change of mindset. We should have an orientation, a reorientation of how we see things. Not me, myself, and I get it quick, and it is for us. It is our time. When you hear it is our time, those people will never do anything, because they're actually working for them pocket. So let us remove this pocket expenditure or governance, and let's do redevelopment that will touch the grassroots, because implementation is not complete if grassroots is omitted. Implementation is not complete if the people who are the people who felt the brunt of the challenge, who felt the brunt of the suffering, are not even seeing it. So what do you say you've done?
Okay. Okay, yes. but lastly, before I let you go, this is just a very random question, right? But in line with youth inclusion and empowerment, especially in Edo State, but by extension in Nigeria, what would you say should be the priority, or is the priority at this point?
Yes, I told you we carry out a research, because I'm talking based on people's opinion. We had a survey for 360 youth called the Edo Youth Agenda to find out what are their 5 top priority needs. 5 top priority needs. The first they identify is capacity development and education. So if you provide the necessary information for the people and the right environment, young people can thrive.
So young people in Nigeria will thrive if we have the right environment and capacity and education.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Prince Israel, for joining the show this morning.
Yeah, it's a pleasure speaking with you guys.
Thank you very much. And that was Prince Israel, speaking to us all the way from Edo State. Quite an insightful conversation right there. And I think I do agree with lots of the points that you made, especially the last
when it comes to education.
Exactly, education. But education, it doesn't necessarily have to be education
in the classroom,
in the class,
education in terms of getting knowledgeable.
Exactly, it could be skills, all of that stuff. Just giving somebody something that he can do, and I think we will all thrive in, especially. And I think our guest yesterday also spoke about, an inclusive environment, and an environment that helps you thrive. Because we're talking about people leaving the country, and it was like, look, if we have an environment that will help you thrive, and especially young people, they will stay. Exactly. So I do agree with that. Okay, that's so much you can take on the conversation this morning. I hope you had an amazing time, like I did, and I think most people had.
I did actually. Okay. I did.
Okay, don't forget you can be a part of the conversation. Also join the TOS TV network community. Follow TOS TV network across social media platforms. That's across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also check out our YouTube channel. It's TOS TV network on YouTube, and subscribe to it. Don't just check it out, but subscribe to the channel. And also, our website www.tostvnetwork.com. My name is Adesu Alsi.
And my name is Merciful Ajino. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Month to you.